A third baseman doesn't get drum rolls. He gets a blur of topspin and a heartbeat to decide the inning. He gets the sound of a crowd inhaling at the same time a ball is already skidding toward the chalk. He gets the last fair square of dirt before the wall. That's where Graig Nettles lived. Not in anecdotes, not in legends passed from barstool to barstool, but in the instant between contact and consequence. If the most overlooked third baseman in baseball history needs an introduction, start with the quiet facts that stacked into seasons, then pennants, then rings. Picture the arc plainly. 22 big league years, 6 uniforms, more than 2,400 games at third base, more than 2,700 overall. San Diego born, drafted by Minnesota, seasoned in Cleveland, defined in the Bronx, still dangerous in San Diego, finishing like a pro in Atlanta and Montreal. The job description stayed constant even when the zip codes changed. Be available, be tough, be exact. The stat line explains the rest. 2,225 hits, 390 home runs, 1,314 runs batted in, 1,193 runs scored, a slash line that won't win batting titles, 248/329/421, but holds up exactly where it needs to when paired with a glove that turned doubles into outs. Stay with the glove for a moment. Third base asks for first step reads that can't be taught and hands that don't panic. Nettles played the position like a solution in search of a problem. His feet were quiet. His throws were right where a first baseman wants them. He was the infield's frontline insurance on contact that breaks games. 2 gold gloves are the resume headline, but the details tell the story. A heavy workload of chances and assists in peak seasons. A low error rate stretched across thousands of innings. Managers who stopped worrying about the left side because the left side was handled. No slogans required. Pitchers trusted that when a right-handed hitter won the pitch, but not the barrel, Nettles would steal the result back. Stick that glove into October and the pictures sharpen. Game 3, 1978 World Series, Yankees down 2 games to none to the Dodgers, and every hard grounder is an event. Reggie Smith's 2-run bullet down the line, Nettles lays out, snares it, throws across, and the rally loses its teeth. Another rocket with 2 on, knocked down, kept in front, turned into a force when most parks would be watching extra base hits carom toward the corner. Yet another smash, and he's spinning from his knees to the bag, erasing base runners one decision at a time. The box score will say outs. The series will say turning point. Neither will exaggerate. Now the bat. The job at third is not to lead the league in average. It's to change the score with one swing and make pitchers work the whole plate. Nettles did that in a way that traveled. Cleveland's deep alleys, New York's asymmetry, San Diego's heavy air. He found the carry he needed because the power came honest. In 1976, he led the American League with 32 home runs. In 1977, he set career highs with 37 homers and 107 RBIs, and walked off with a gold glove, while the Yankees climbed the last flights to a title. 10 different seasons with 20 or more home runs say, this wasn't a mood. It was a profile. Middle of the order, playable on-base skill, real lift, and availability you could set your watch by. Availability matters. 8 seasons with at least 150 games. 6 with at least 157. The hot corner invites bruises and missed time. Nettles kept showing up, and when the stakes rose, he didn't shrink. 53 postseason games, 5 home runs, 27 RBIs. Add the runs he denied with his glove, and the picture is complete. Not a streak hitter who disappears when the league gets small, but a third baseman whose October looks like his August, only louder. Roster building tells you what professionals think. The Yankees in the mid to late 1970s needed 3 things to finish a game: pitching that survived contact, a defense that made contact expensive, and timely power. Nettles checked 2 boxes all summer and a third in bursts when the calendar flipped. That's how you land on back-to-back championships in 1977 and 1978, and pennants bracketing them. That's why, when he went west in 1984, San Diego handed him the hot corner on a team that needed steadiness and thump, and he gave them 20 home runs and a path to the first pennant in franchise history. Different league, same math. If the ball finds third, turn it into an out. If a mistake finds the plate, turn it into 2 runs. He didn't need embellishment then, and he doesn't now. The numbers are the numbers. 6 All-Star teams, 2 Gold Gloves, 1 American League home run title, 1 American League Championship Series Most Valuable Player, when run production helped push the Yankees through a split-season gauntlet. He also carried a record that meant something in context. For years, the most career home runs by an American League third baseman. That's not a postcard. That's a landmark. It clarifies how often he delivered exactly what the position asks for. Leverage power on a defense-first platform. If the question is, why is he overlooked? The answer is names and optics. Third base over his era offered fans a hall of mirrors. Mike Schmidt's peak is always going to be the loudest in a room of sluggers. George Brett's averages and October moments pull cameras on their own. Brooks Robinson turned the 1970 World Series into a defensive thesis. Wade Boggs arrived with a .40 on-base percentage and a batting title habit. Nettles didn't carry a batting championship, didn't win a Most Valuable Player award, and wasn't a one-uniform career. He was the kind of third baseman who makes a good staff better and a good lineup complete, and those players are easy to underestimate until they aren't there anymore. Remove him from the 1977 Yankees, and the lineup loses 30 to 40 home runs. Remove him from 1978, and the Dodgers' third-inning leads look different, because 3 balls that died in his glove roll into the corner. Remove him from 1984 San Diego, and a team looking for a first-place finishing kick is suddenly guessing at third base every night. This is not hypothetical poetry. It's the structural role a top-tier third baseman fills. The position is a run prevention engine. Nettles was elite at that, and still found time to change baseballs with the barrel. The career had chapters, and they read cleanly. Early with Minnesota, he waited his turn, learned outfield corners, and kept his name on cards until third base opened. In Cleveland, he earned the everyday job, led the club in home runs, and established the defensive profile that would follow him forever. In New York, he became what he was supposed to be, a Gold Glove third baseman who led a pennant winner in home runs, who turned an infield into a safe harbor for a championship staff, who kept his bat honest and his glove sure for a half-decade at the top. In San Diego, he brought a veteran version of the same package, and the standings reflected it. The production never came from a gimmick. No bandboxes built the totals. No one ballpark trick inflated the line. His swing worked because he identified strikes and punished them. His glove worked because he got to balls before they became problems. He did not need speed to fake range. He created angles that gave him a margin. He did not need a 300 average to generate value. He hit the ball hard, often enough, and far enough that slug and walks did the heavy lifting. He did not need to sell himself. The schedule sold what he did for 22 seasons. The ledger lines that matter to players show up in the way teammates talk about roles. When a catcher doesn't need to call for a pitch around a left side gap because third is covered. That's a run saved in July that gets remembered in October. When a starter knows he can challenge inside to a right-handed hitter because a check swing bullet won't reach the wall, that's pitch selection made easier by trust. Managers wrote him in every day because there was nothing to guard against. The cost of keeping him on the field was low. The cost of taking him off was high. He wasn't immune to the sport's friction. He played in high-pressure markets. He lived through managerial changes and owner declarations and all the noise that tends to orbit competitive clubs. He had seasons interrupted by illness and nagging injuries that come with 20 summers at the hot corner. Even then, the graph rarely dipped below usable. It almost always rose in the months that define the standings. The simplest way to present him for narration is the most accurate one. A third baseman who played more than 2,400 games at the position and made fewer than 300 errors there. A hitter who reached 390 home runs without chase for chase's sake. A starter who won 2 Gold Gloves back-to-back on a team that won back-to-back World Series. A player who, across 53 postseason games, drove in 27 runs and took away more than the stat sheet will ever credit. A professional who led the American League in home runs in 1976, set personal bests in 1977, and showed up in 1984 with 20 more homers on a new coast, because the job didn't change, and neither did he. There's no need to inflate what the record already says. The overlooked part is not mystery, it's misweighting. Third base value lives where box scores can't always see it, but standings can. Graig Nettles turned high exit velocity contact into ordinary outs for 22 years and still had enough left in the tank to put baseballs in the seats. He was the right glove at the right time on clubs that needed the right result, and he delivered exactly that. When a throw beat a runner by a step in the 6th, a reliever's job got easier in the 7th. When a 2-run shot arrived in the 5th, a tight game tilted without theatrics. If the narration needs a closing statement, keep it as precise as his footwork. The most overlooked third baseman in baseball history combined elite defense, clutch power, and October moments without promising anything he couldn't prove. He didn't trade in myth. He traded in outcomes. Line drive, dive, out. Hanging slider, pull, 2 runs. Ball in play, inning over. 22 seasons of that is not an accident or a vibe. It is a resume. And if legacies are supposed to reflect what wins, his merits are not a whisper. They are a scoreboard, a box score, and a banner, repeated enough times to be unmistakable.